our motto. Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win. Don't give us the blow, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best and we're successful. Come watch our show. Better Rivers sponsors. It's time to start. Enjoy the show.
Welcome in, everyone. This is Betting Weekly Live, Thursday, the 26th of September. And Steve Wyss here with Simon Holden. I tell you what, Simon, I've just got absolutely drenched on the school run. Raining cats and dogs out there. How are you doing?
Well, we've had a bit of an electrical storm round our way, Steve. As you know, power's gone off. But luckily for everyone, I am here and I am online. So whoever tried to sabotage me with a direct lightning attack has failed so far. So, yeah, scary weather today, Steve.
Yeah, well, they say lightning doesn't strike twice. So let's hope you had a really big winner on the last show. So are you going to repeat it on this one?
That's the plan. We're going to go for some big prices. We're going to die with our boots on, as they say. We're going to go out swinging today.
Yeah, good luck to all the picks today. And we're going to be talking about President's Cup golf. Cup golf, because, of course, Simon Holden's on the show. We've got Europa League soccer, La Liga. We've got the NFL match to talk about as well. We've got to go straight in to the President's Cup matches, because you've got a bet here which is actually going to kick off. It's going to start in about half an hour's time. So we've got to get on the bets early. And these are the matches in the President's Cup today. Take us through the early bet. It's in the Minwoo game, I do believe, Simon. Was that right?
Yeah, we're in Montreal. We're on the Blue Coast. The President's Cup, of course, the Americans have a fantastic record in this, but I'm going against the tide here. I think Mike Weir has put together some sensational matchups and two-ball teams here, Steve. And for me, the bet of the day is Minwoo Lee and Adam Scott to beat Colin Morikawa and Sahith Theegala at plus 140. This is a classic. It's four balls, so everybody plays, and it's the lowest score wins on each hole. I think Scotty is the perfect kind of mentor for Minwoo, the exciting, young, aggressive Australian. Scotty's going to play it very, very safe. We know he's in good form, played well at Wentworth last week. He'll hit every fairway, he'll hit every green, and Minwoo Lee will go at everything today, and I think he's going to be the superstar of this 4-day
11:53 Eastern kickoff time. That Lee and Adam Scott to beat Morikawa and Theegala. You like a pick in the earlier game as well. This is 11:35 Eastern starting, so just in over half an hour's time. We've got Tony Finau and Xander Schauffele against Jason Day and Byung-Hun Ahn here. Who are you going with?
I'm going for Hun An and Jason Day at plus 175. Now, the great story here is that gentleman Jim Furyk, the American captain, has broken up Patrick Cantlay and Xander, who do not like playing with anybody else but each other. If that sounds reasonably clean, they are not playing this week, or not today anyway. And Furyk has stamped his authority on this because he failed badly in the Ryder Cup, Steve, when they came over to Paris. And I think he's showing who's boss on day one here. But I think this might backfire. I think Jason Day, again, is a perfect partner here. He'll play the steady routine. And I think his partner, Byung-Hun An, the big hitter, I think he'll be more aggressive. And I think with Tony Finau having a very up and down year, they are very good value. I think the internationals are going to have a very good day one, Steve.
Yeah, so those first two games kick off quite soon. We better get into the President's Cup outright now, the futures here again, because the tournament is getting underway very, very soon. If you're watching on demand, you might not be able to get on some of these, but let's see. President's Cup, USA, big favourite. This is USA against the rest of the world in golf.
Everywhere but Europe.
Yeah, the alternate to the Ryder Cup. Minus 235 USA to win. The tie is 12-1. Internationals to win is plus 250. And there we can see the top point scorer odds for the USA and the internationals. And let's start with the USA side. Actually, no, let's start with who you think is actually going to win the actual trophy here, Simon, because this is over played over 4 days, sorry.
4 days,
it's a long event, and the USA have a fantastic record in it. I mean, do you give the internationals much of a chance this year?
Give them a chance, and obviously, I think they're going to have a huge day. We'll come to it later, but I think they could win this 4-1 today. However, the American team are so strong at the singles that I think the international captain Mike Weir knows he's going to have to take a big lead into day 3 and 4, and it's going to be very, very tough. We've seen in Ryder Cups when the American team we think are getting a good hiding, a spanking. We've seen them come back so strongly time after time, and their record in Presidents Cup singles outrageous. So I actually think that if I'm correct, and the internationals have a big lead at the end of day 1, that the USA might actually become a good value play to win the whole thing and lose today. So Mike Weir's got to take a huge lead into the singles, and I'm not sure he quite will. I think they'll go well. I think they'll start well. I think the crowd will roar him on. I think he's made some terrific matches. But to win this over 4 days, Steve, might be the bridge too far.
Might be a bridge too far. I've heard from the traders today, and there's a decent handle with Bet Rivers betting on the President's Cup. There's been quite a bit of interest in it. Some notable bets. Minwoo Lee, nearly 7,000 on him to be the top international rookie point scorer at -120. Quite a big bet on no hole in one in the tournament, -345. And the biggest bet on a US point scorer is Colin Morikawa at 6-1. Let's have a look at these top point scorers then for the respective teams, and let's start with the internationals. You think they might go all right? Who stands out for you in this top point scoring market for the away side?
Well, ironically, you've just mentioned him. It's Minwoo Lee. I think he's the next superstar of world golf. I think that price plus 1,100 is absolutely fantastic value. Everyone's talking about Matsuyama, but Minwoo Lee is so aggressive. This course is going to be set up for one thing, and that's birdies, because that's what the American TV coverage wants. And he's just the perfect foil for it. He's got so much self-belief that he's not going to wilt, and I think he's a huge price there. Yeah, I can see why somebody's gone in for top rookie, but I just think within that team, I mean, Tom Kim is plus 650, Steve. There's no way that Minwoo Lee should be nearly double that price. That is insane. So he's just great value. He's a great player.
And on the US side, and I was surprised by your selection here because he's been awful for most of the year.
Yeah,
Wyndham Clark. This is going to take some explaining, Simon, because I mean he's been on everyone's fade list for most of the year. You think 9-1?
Yeah. Just don't hurt me, Steve. That's all I ask. Don't hurt me. I'm a coward. I'll tell you why. Quite simple. I looked at the matchups today, and I think Wyndham Clark is going to be the only one in his partnership to get a point. I think they're playing the weakest by far of the international teams, which is, let's remind myself, which is Bazidno and Taylor in the 12-29. So he's playing with Keegan Bradley. I think it's a great matchup. The experience of Keegan Bradley. I do think Wyndham Clark will play more than Keegan Bradley. So if they're the only Americans with a point, logic tells me that he's going to shorten in that market. So that is the Wyndham Clark thing. And he has bucked up a little bit from his dreadful form earlier in the year. Big hitter. I do think he's the type of guy for a match play situation. And if he's the only American with a point on the board tonight, along with Keegan Bradley, and I think he'll play more as the week goes on, then it's kind of just a little bit of a swim against the tide logic bet, really.
Minwoo Lee, top international point scorer. Wyndham Clark, top US point scorer. Let's go into these final three games now. You've actually got a pick in all three of them, the remaining matchups today. As I say, we've got Henley and Scheffler. I'm just getting the times for these games now. That is 12:11 Eastern time. The Bradley Clark game is at 12:29. Yeah. And 12:47 p.m. Eastern time is the Burns and Cantlay. Quite a big spacing out, actually, between the fixtures here. Are they thinking that someone's going to be doing a bit of slow play or something? But look, just take us through what are the three fancies for these final three matchups today that you like?
Well, of course, they're the only games on the day, Steve. So it's not like the Ryder Cup where they're rushing to get finished for the morning. I do like the old him and Kim. together. That's going to be the handle, isn't it? Now, of course, Scotty Scheffler, he didn't have the greatest Ryder Cup. He's playing with Russell Henley, who I think is the weak link of the American team, within reason. I just think Sunjay Im, the birdie machine, Tom Kim, the boy wonder. I think it's a lot more level than the bookmakers think and Bet Rivers think. So I've gone with them plus 150. And we've already covered that. I do think that Wyndham Clark, Keegan Bradley will win their match today. And then in the last game, you've got another great Mike Weir pairing. Matsuyama and Corey Connors. Corey Connors, the home star, is going to have the whole crowd with him. The great ball striker, and Matsuyama, who has really come back to form. And they, I think, are the only international team that are actually a favourite today against Sam Burns and Patrick Cantlay. I've already covered that Patrick Cantlay will be fuming that he's not playing with Xander. He's not the happiest of guys at the best of times. God knows what his face is going to be like first day. Be like Nigel Steely when he's told it's his round. I mean, the guy is going to be very, very angry. And I think if Corey Connors and Matsuyama can get a lead there, they might just do a number on those.
Why has Jim Furyk split up Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay? They're best of friends. They've been in they've been successful in, some of the Ryder Cup pairings before, unsuccessful in certain ones as well. Seems a strange move from me. Uncle Jim, as I always used to call him down the years.
I didn't know you were related.
Yeah. I just find it a bit strange that it seems a really bold move from a US captain like this.
If he gets this right and they're both to win, he has stamped his authority on this American team. We know he took a lot of criticism. Now, golfers are like any other team sport player. They will blame anyone but themselves. After Paris, it suddenly became Jim Furyk's fault. After Rome last year, we're all giving interviews, blaming the captain, blaming the backroom staff. Players never look in the mirror and blame themselves. So I think what he's tried to do is stamp his authority. He's broken up the pairing who wanted to play together. If they win, it's a masterstroke. He stamped his authority on the American team for the rest of the week, and I think they'll have an easy win. If they win day one, the Americans will win this easy. However, Steve, the flip side, if this goes badly wrong, are you telling me that Cantlay and Xander are not going to be moaning and groaning tonight in the team room? It is. I don't know why he's done it. They're a massive favourite. Why do it? Why let them play together? They're probably going to win most of the games.
You're getting involved in the correct score market for day one. You're just basically going to bet on what you think it's. You predicted 4-1. 4-1 to Team International at 14-1. That's worth a bit of a nibble, you think, on the Bet Rivers futures. Sorry, day one correct score market here. You've got to be quick to get on this, by the way. The first match is teeing off in about half an hour's time. And before we move on to the soccer, what's the best bet? If you're going to have one golf bet today, which one is it?
I think it's got to be
Adam Scott
and Adam Scott. Yeah, I think that's an incredible pair, and I'm very, very excited about seeing it. And I think they are a massive price, plus 140.
There we go. Plus 140. That match tees off at 11:53 Eastern time. We've got a lot to get through today, so we're moving on to the soccer card now. Let's just go through the comments actually first. Welcome in everyone. Welcome in Ming Chung. He asked a question for you, Simon, earlier. Have you gone to a Harrogate Town match yet? And he also said he really likes Morikawa in the golf. Kirk Schreier, welcome in. Foxy, welcome in. Danny, welcome in. Byron Murrell as well. Ray Burke, great to see you all. Ray, great winner there in Iceland yesterday. Well done to you. Harrogate Town, have they had the presence of your company yet, Simon? There is a VIP section. I looked. They do a VIP,
It's one chair, isn't it?
A bit more than that.
No, hey, Steve, you're my man on the ground. I'm ready. It's like the bat phone. I'm ready. You just got to call, and I'll be on that train. And what's their nickname again? This team that I love.
The Sulphurites.
Sulphurites, that's it. Yeah, I will be there. I cannot wait. Before Christmas, we will go to a Harrogate Town.
Watch out for the content.
Series of video. Yeah. Because
we win Instagram. Anyway, on to pressing matters today. La Liga, midweek card. And there weren't many goals yesterday, but I'm hoping there's a few more goals today. Espanyol against Villarreal is the first. And I've got a pick for this game, actually. And I'm going to do a same game parlay here. I'm going to have Villarreal versus Espanyol. Both teams score, yes, and over 2.5 goals at -105. 1:08. This is a 1 p.m. kickoff time Eastern. Basically, Villarreal. I watched a crazy game with them on the weekend against Barcelona. It ended 5-1, but it could have ended 5-4. Really, there was missed penalties, everything going on in there. And they played pretty open football. And Espanyol actually had a couple of good wins recently. Fair play to them. I think it will be quite a decent game of football here. And, rather than take the BTTS on its own or the over 2.5 on its own at fairly minus money prices, let's do the same game parlay at minus 108. It's not my best bet of the day, but it is quite a strong pick for me. Here, we've got Las Palmas against Real Betis. Las Palmas are winless in the league since February the 10th. It's a long, long time ago since they registered a win. I've got a funny feeling. Let's just call this a gut feeling. I think they might get the 3 points.
Really?
It's completely, yeah. Call me crazy here, but I think it might not be a bad spot for them. Real Betis have coming off a defeat. Las Palmas are at home on the island of Gran Canaria. I'm sure you've probably been there, Simon, golfing or something. And it can be an awkward trip. Would I bet on them at plus 220? Of course I wouldn't. I wouldn't trust them with monopoly money. But I've got a weird gut feeling that they might win this game or at least get something out of the match. So I'm not touching that one. Celta Vigo, Atletico Madrid. This is a later kickoff, 3 p.m. Eastern, and you've got a few angles for us here. Atletico Madrid. They're your Spanish side, aren't they? Atletico Madrid, one of your favourites.
They are, yes.
You once told me,
so it pains me to say. So that's a brave, instinctive move, Steve. A team that have not had a win since February, and you're going for them. That's fantastic.
I'm not betting on them. I've just got a weird random gut feeling.
Yeah. Even Dan Roebuck's had a win since February. That's the thing. I mean, or a lead. Yeah, I think this is a great game. Now I do love Atletico, and of course the great Griezmann returns. But Atletico have been most un-Atletico like this year. 3 wins, 3 draws. But the draws have been like teams like Vallecano. They should be slaughtering. So it's a spluttering start to the season. Now, Simeone, not the nicest of guys, and has been quite vocal in the press. But the thing about Celta Vigo are an absolute goal machine. I think it's 3 wins, 3 defeats, if I'm right. Goals everywhere. And I just think
they are scoring a lot. Yeah,
this is going to be a goal fest. So you've got the meanies coming to town, but I think the only way Celta Vigo are going to get in is to carry on this like all-out attack. Now over 3.5 is plus 210. I thought that was very, very tempting. And you know me, the big price correct scores. I can't help myself.
Here we go.
I cannot help myself. I've gone Celta Vigo 3-2. Plus 3,500. I put a sporting selection. Now, we don't need to get many of these right, do we, to get the old Harrogate Town money? In fact, we've probably already got the Harrogate Town money. And I just can see a big, scoring, exciting match here at Celta Vigo. And 3-2. But the overs for me. This screams goals, this match.
Atletico Madrid have been more of an overs team recently, probably for the last 18 months, and it took me a while to cotton onto it, to be fair. And I can't deny that Celta Vigo are a great watch here. I think they're not bad. I think they're not bad. I mean, they're plus 290 on the money line. I wouldn't be surprised if they got a result. There's a big bet, a 5-figure bet on Atletico Madrid draw no bet with the Bet Rivers, one of the biggest wagered bets on soccer today. So that wouldn't be good for that particular better if Celta Vigo won. I would lean over here. I mean, over 2.5 is backable as well at minus 108 if you like that. You've gone the over 3.5 and a 35-1 pick on the correct score, 3-2 to Celta Vigo. Just going through the comments here now. Stuart Johnson says USA day 1 winner at 4-6 looks a great bet. Massive difference in quality. But Simon is saying be careful there on day 1. Jared Barton, need a Meatman hot dog for today. I'll see what I can find for the Europa League for you, Jared. I'm not. I've got to have a couple of picks in the Europa League coming up soon, but let's see if we can get a big one. Kirk says Celta Vigo match both teams to score. Yes, yeah, very hard to argue there. Dan Roebuck, Espanyol plus 1/4 of a goal. Yeah, well, Villarreal are a tough team to trust on the handicap sometimes, so I could see that. Foxy doesn't like Betis either. Yeah, someone thinking along the way I'm thinking here in the Las Palmas game. Not look good away from home. Could we get this big shot win for Las Palmas? today. They've been waiting a long time.
It will be some night out on the island tonight, won't it, if they do this? None shall sleep.
Ollie McBurney, of course, does play for Las Palmas now, and Bell has mentioned this. Playing well, maybe look at him to score. Both teams score, and Atletico win, says Mandeep Singh, and Nish says 3 goals at Celta. 1.95, is that the over 3, over 2.5? Yeah, over 2.5 that'll be for Nish. So so I say my best bet in La Liga would be Espanyol Villarreal. Both teams scoring over 2.5, and you're going with the over 3.5 in the Celta Vigo game versus Atletico de Madrid, and that's 35-1. Correct score shout. We've got to move on.
Can I very, very quickly say something about the bet about the golfing class? Recently, we did say about the Solheim Cup and the Ryder Cup. If you look at these team events and go through world rankings, you often lose the greenback. So just bear that in mind. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Yeah, very well said there, Simon. Let's go on. Europa League now. It was a good day for me, actually, in the Europa League. I had a couple of good winners on the show. My Scandinavian teams treated me pretty well. Probably the headline 2 games, Spurs are in action against Qarabag and Malmo against Rangers. And it's the Malmo game, actually, where I quite like this one. I've got to be honest. It's my best bet of the day is going to come in the Steaua Bucharest game later. But Malmo against Rangers, 12:45 Eastern kickoff here. Sweden against Scotland. And I like the Swedes. Surprise, surprise, for those who watch this show regularly.
Not a great job.
There's a bit of needle between these two teams, you know. They've met in recent years. The Malmo Twitter account, or X as it's known now, was kind of goading Rangers a bit this week, saying we've missed you and we're looking forward to playing against you. So, I mean, that can sometimes backfire, but Malmo have a good record against Rangers. And I do respect Rangers in Europe. I would rarely bet against them in Scotland, but away from home, I'm more than happy to oppose them. It didn't work well for me last week when I opposed the Old Firm, and Celtic showed me up. But I actually think the more I look at it, I think Celtic are actually a better level than Rangers, really. And Malmo are by far the best team in Sweden. They're 10 points clear at the top. They can focus entirely on the Europa League now. And I like the handicap. Mine's a quarter ball handicap here. So if it's a draw, we lose half our stake. I think they're a decent price on the money line at plus 130. Never really trusted Scottish teams away from home in Europe too much. And, you know, you've got to ask yourself a question, how good is this version of Rangers? Whenever I've seen their fans comment this season, they've not been particularly high on their team. And, you know, the manager came under a little bit of pressure as well. Let's see how they get on. This could be a spicy game. There's a Portuguese referee in charge. I think there'll be a few hefty tackles flying in. So, you know, do check out the cards market in running. I'm not saying there'll be a red card, but there could be a few yellows. And Foxy makes a point yesterday. PAOK Galatasaray failed to deliver in the cards, but this one does look like cards. Yeah, I definitely think. I mean, the card line is over 4.5 for those who can get it. I just think there's a bit of needle here, and both teams want to put a bit of a number on the other. Depends how lenient the referee's going to be. Okay, so that is the Malmo game. You've got a pick in Europa League, Simon.
Yeah,
and you're going to Roma against Athletic Bilbao. This is a later kickoff, 3 p.m. Eastern, plus 120 on Roma. I think actually they've been cut down since that graphic was up. Yeah, actually, no, plus 123. But that's your pick on the Italian side.
Yeah, well, as you know, quickly, I was in Scotland at the weekend, given dreadful stick at the Airgol Cup by both Rangers and Celtic fans. So Malmo can come to my aid tonight. So Roma, Ivan Juric taking over. We know that Roma had a horrendous start to the season, only 1 win in 6. But that 1 win did come in the last game, 3-0 battering of Udinese. And I think new man at the helm, I think they've turned the corner. And the other thing that makes me so pro Roma tonight is that Bilbao, very good start to the season, but they have a dreadful record. I think they've never won in Italy, if I'm right, Steve. Never done the business.
Well, that must go back. That must go back decades, then. I mean, but how often would they have played in Italy? I guess would be my question.
Twice. Yeah. Well, it's not a great stat. Put it that way. They must have played quite a few, James. They must have been on holiday. I just think that the new guys come in, they were underperforming. Everyone's like breath of fresh air when a good new manager has as hopefully Everton fans might feel that feeling soon when a new manager comes in and turns things around. Rome will be a hostile atmosphere tonight. I think that's I can understand. I suspect that's going to be heavily bet, Roma, if it hasn't been already. I think that's a decent. I think they will continue where they left off against Udinese tonight.
Just 56% of the tickets are on Roma for this game. Bilbao I've seen Bilbao tipped up in a few quarters to actually win the Europa League this year, by the way.
Really?
So I think they're quite a popular team. This might be a tough start for them against, Roma's side who, the last time they changed a manager, they got an immediate reaction, didn't they? So maybe if they get something similar again, I can actually see the appeal on that. My best bet of the day is in a match that probably no one's really talking about, but it is a Europa League fixture. This is a 3 p.m. Eastern kickoff. It's FCSB against RFS. So this is, for those who are wondering who the hell these teams actually are, this is Steaua Bucharest, the Romanian side, against a Latvian team called RFS. And I like Steaua, or FCSB, on the Asian handicap, minus 0.75 on the Asian handicap here. To beat them, I think there's a decent golfing class. Minus 118 is the odds here on FCSB. I've seen the Latvian team in qualifying against the Norwegian side Glimt, and they lost 7-1 on aggregate. And although Glimt are better than Steaua Bucharest, I think there's a fair golf here. This is the Latvian team playing in Europa League. It's unheard of, Simon. This really should be a Conference League fixture, if I'm being brutally honest. That they're actually playing in Europa League is mad. But for me, it's a clear home win. Clear home win for the Romanian side. I was quite impressed with them in qualifying. They pushed Sparta Prague close and beat Lask Linz to make it to this stage. And I'd be really surprised if they don't get the win here against Latvian opposition. Really, really confident actually in this one. I think the Latvians will have a couple of home games where they maybe have a couple of decent performances, but away from home, it's going to be tough for them. Thoughts on both teams to score no in Fenerbahce's game? I did look at that Jose Mourinho, of course, in action. Thanks for the question, Foxy, against Union Saint-Gilloise. Yeah, I looked at under there. Wouldn't surprise me. Funika Mekia says, I'd be careful with Roma. Not sure we can trust them yet. Kirk likes Malmo and Roma on the money line. But he does agree with me. Steaua are going to destroy these guys. I hope you're right, Fuena. But 2-0 will do me. I'm not going to go crazy.
Levels. All about levels, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly that. So I think that is it for Europa League. Spurs Qarabag. Any quick thoughts? They should. This is a really popular pick today. A lot of the tickets are on Tottenham. We've had quite a lot of significant four-figure bets on the Spurs handicaps. This is against an Azerbaijan side. They should get the job done quite easily. But Qarabag, let's not forget, they went to Braga last year and won 4-2. So,
do you completely trust Spurs, Steve?
No.
To unload at odds on? I certainly wouldn't.
No,
I'd rather do the bet you've given just now if you want an unloader.
Yeah. Spurs are the favourites to win the Europa League. Would you have that, Simon?
No.
When was the last time they won a trophy? And I wouldn't trust them because I think they will overlook this game. They'll look at this. Qarabag, who are they? We should easily beat them. And there could be a bit of rotation. I forget who they got at the weekend. I think they got quite a big game, though. And I think they'll overlook Qarabag completely. So, they still might have enough comfortably to beat them. But I wouldn't. Minus 7.15 on the money line. No, not for me either. If I had to put a score, I would say 3-1 to Spurs. Could be a possible outcome here. And like I say, there's been some significant money on the Spurs handicap for this particular fixture. Loads of tasty games across Europe. We can't discuss all of them, though. My best bet, FCSB or Steaua Bucharest on that minus 0.75 handicap, and your best ball only bet for Europa League. Roma for you. Okay, we've got to finish off. We've got to talk about NFL because we've got a really big game. Thursday night football, Dallas Cowboys at the New York Giants. And I actually watched the Cowboys game last week because they played my Ravens. Minus 5.5 on the handicap for the Dallas Cowboys here at minus 112. The advanced line, I can tell you, was actually minus 7. So based on the results of last week, there has been some line movement towards the New York Giants' favour. Whether that's fair or not is a debate. The over-under line is at 45.5, which looks about fair. and on the money line, -265, the Cowboys. I can tell you now 93% of the tickets are on the Cowboys for this game at Bet Rivers. Yeah, so this is that's where the money's been going. But they do kind of own the Giants. They have won 18 of the last 22 meetings against the Giants of the Cowboys. The Cowboys have covered the spread in 10 of their last 11 road games following a loss. That is an interesting stat, Simon. You actually have got a bet for us in this game in the NFL.
Yeah,
it's one of yours. Is this like the Harrogate Town better before you're going against the grain? It worked for you before.
If there's a tide, I want to swim against it, but you only have to get it wrong once to drown, as they say.
So, you do, yes.
The Giants. Now, I've been looking at the kind of local media. The Dallas Cowboys are getting the most awful criticism and toxic in their home state. Both these teams are 1-2, aren't they, on the year? The Giants, one of the bets I like is Giants to win the first half in this, because we've seen Cowboys rally, haven't we, in their games this year. I just think that there isn't as much between them as the betting suggests. I think it's one of them. The Cowboys do have, like you said, they've got the record in this fixture, but I've just got one of those feelings, Steve, that this is going to be the Giants' night. And I think the best bet is the Giants to win the first half.
Interesting. We had a comment earlier from Kirk, who likes Dallas -5 first quarter, which is an interesting bet. I mean, technically, actually, both that could win, and then your first half bet could win. Actually,
it could. In theory. Good luck, Kirk. So,
but
good luck, then bad luck.
The Cowboys. I mean, I watched Ravens Cowboys. My Ravens beat them easily.
And, they're not coming here in great form, are they?
Yeah, I mean, their offensive line really struggled last week. And I mean, I just want to mention something about sacks for this game, by the way, because in the New York Giants game last week against the Cleveland Browns, there was 16 sacks, an absolutely absurd number of sacks. Now, I mean, Dak Prescott was put down a few times by the Ravens last week. The New York Giants pass rush may well look at getting them. There was a player prop I actually quite liked. A couple of guys after sacks here, DeMarcus Lawrence and Dexter Lawrence, to have at least one sack each at around even money. That did caught my eye. Just in the player props market. There's a couple more stats I want to read off here for this game before I go. 5 consecutive Cowboys games have gone over the total points line. The CD Lamb, the Cowboys' really good wide receiver, has recorded 90 or more receiving yards in 4 straight games as betting favourites. So that's an interesting trend. Will they look to feed him the ball now as a big favourite on the road, or a fairly significant favourite on the road? But you think Giants first half might be worth a look? What are you betting on, guys? Put it in the comments here. Mandeep Singh says over 45.5 points. We know what Kirk's on. I mean, the Bet Rivers are not offering a sacks line yet for this game. It might well come up closer to the off, but I'd be looking at getting on over 4.5 sacks combined here. There's some 2 good pass rushes. The offensive lines are a bit dodgy. What are you betting?
The last game we did, I talked about the old short week syndrome about the players, and that would have caught, but I went for the overs, didn't I, as well as the Bills to beat my beloved Dolphins, which sadly they did. I could see this being a tight game. I have a bit on the unders. I'm going to bet Giants in the outright market, and the Giants to win the first half. It would be my play. I think this. I can see the point about the Cowboys getting so much grief at home that are almost glad to be on the road and more relaxed, maybe, possibly.
Mike says Neighbours Yards is the best bet. That's Malik Neighbours for the New York Giants. I'm not actually sure what his line is. Devin Singletary is expected to be the starter. I think his line's around the 60 mark for rushing yards. The Ravens did run all over the Cowboys last week. Whether or not they can fix that in such a short space of time, I'm not sure. There's Shakespeare's play.
Oh, we love his plays, Shakespeare, don't we? Love his plays.
Oakland Athletics over the Texas Rangers money line at -110. Always, it seems a manic day actually for sport. Loads of action going on.
Yeah,
we're out of time now on the show though. Simon, thanks very much for your
pleasure. Thank you,
presence. And you're going to be watching the golf now, straight into the action, I guess.
I will be helping the elderly and anybody that needs help with the flooding, and then I'll get straight on to watching the golf. In fact, I'll just go straight and watch golf. So
Dan
there we go.
Roebuck has asked here, what's your favourite Shakespeare play, Simon? Favourite Shakespeare play?
The Three Gentlemen of Roma.
There you
I've
go.
customized it.
Kirk Schroeder says either quarterback to throw an interception. And David H says, I've been looking at rushing yard for Dak and anytime touchdown for Dak as well. Dak Prescott there for the Cowboys. There's going to be a lot of action on this game.
A lot of action tonight.
Thursday night football. Yeah. This is big, you know. There's going to be, you know, if I was actually, let me see how tired I am later. Even I might stay up for the start of it.
Yeah,
let's see how it's going. But anyway, yeah, take care, everyone. Best of luck, whatever you're taking today. Tomorrow, we have got professional gambler Will White is on the show with Dan Roebuck to round off your Betting Weekly Live. But we've had some fantastic shows this week, plenty of winners. Let's hope we can hit some more. Up the golf and up the soccer as well. Ray, thank you very much for your comments. So gamble responsibly, everyone. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time on Betting Weekly Live.